Well, let's talk about the 1%, and not on dating apps. It's the 1% that attended the World Economic Forum at Davos this weekend. Brandon,
nicely done.
Thank you very much. Go ahead and tell us about everything that Klaus Schwab and all the evil people who are trying to undermine society, what they have in plan for us coming up.
Yeah, so first and foremost, let me say that something I have to say. I went around asking people last week before Davos started. I was curious, go around asking, like, for every 10 people that you ask, how many people know what the WEF is or what Davos is?
Right.
And I was appalled to discover that almost like 1 out of every 10 people, if that, knows what Davos and WEF is, which, okay, fine. I'll forgive you for that. Like, I get it that it's an abnormal thing to look at this stuff the way I do and, like, be interested in it and follow it. Okay, but that's forgivable. But something that's not forgivable is if you do know about it and you ignore it, then you're no better than the WEF or Klaus himself. So that's the way I feel like people, if you do know about it and you're cool with it, you want to go about your daily life, with, like, whether it's worried about making money, worried about just like going out to eat or watching TV or whatever. The reason that you should care about this is because these institutions are coming and they want to destroy all of these things. They already are. So look at, they want you to eat bugs instead of meat. They're trying to stop farmers from farming. They're trying to like ban coffee now because it's bad for the environment. They're already destroying the movie industry with the DEI stuff.
But how did they get to Davos? If it's bad for the environment, they probably flew on private jets.
There's some numbers on that. Yeah, like 200 private jets flew this weekend. So many that they couldn't even like fit them all on the runway, and then they took a helicopter right there to avoid all the commoners.
And this is the same Davos where I believe the headline was Davos debauchery, where it's debauchery, where it's
hookers.
Cocaine and prostitutes.
Yeah, there's like a massive demand for hookers there, I guess.
Yeah. And these are the people that are trying to shape policy for the everyday man globally.
Yes,
these are the people pushing those books in the schools as well, just so you know.
Right, yeah, 100%. That's where it's coming from, the globalists. So that's why there's this whole LGBT craze. And like one of the other things they're taking away from us, a lot of people care about, they're like, oh, I'd rather just like spend time with my family and loved ones and like worry about all this crazy stuff. Well, they're trying to take that shit away from you because you notice you have to work a lot more than you did 20 years ago. Now 2 people in the household have to work because of the policies they're doing through like taxes, regulation, and inflation. You have to work more. Now you have less family time. And all the shit that you do like sports, entertainment, that's being ruined by them.
I hate them all.
They're turning like the athletes into virtue signaling machines. They're making movies have to have these requirements where you have to have like artificially controlled like roles and like you have to have a certain amount of black people, gay people, disabled people.
And racism in the back of the end zones because that does something right.
Exactly.
It's all single stadium in the NFL had in one end zone race and racism, and the other. It takes all of us.
So it's over now then, right? Racism's
yeah, we ended
it.
Almost at the Super Bowl.
The racists saw that and were like, I should cut it out.
Yeah, they were like, honey, take the flag down.
I'm pretty sure like a football game isn't the most racist place. It's like every culture working together to beat the exact same group.
Unless you're on the other side and you hate them. But yes, I agree.
Yeah. Now, is this group the same one that's responsible for Greta Thunberg?
Of course.
That's their biggest crime of all.
Yeah. Well, so point being though, like everybody has a stake in this. Everybody in America has a stake in this. No matter what you like to do with your day-to-day life, like if you're here about this one time, you should care about it forever because until like we take power away from this institution, they're going to ruin our lives. Like Europe and Canada is a clear sign of that. Like look at the stuff that's going on there. But anyway, I'm giving that as context before this compilation of the craziest things said from there this weekend. So take it away.
All right.
You do not even have to have elections anymore because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be.
My spirit name is Ozawa Makwa, which means brown bear in Ojibwe.
And coming as a white man of advanced age from a continental European background.
Inclusion is about see me and hear me and make space for me.
And so we should all be doing this because you can make a profit. Inclusion is profitable.
The fossil fuel polluters use a portion of their wealth from digging up dead things from the earth and burning them in ways that destroy the future of humanity. They use some of their wealth to confuse people. I get a little exercised about this because I've watched it for a long time, and it's driven by pure greed. Pure greed. If we deploy electric vehicles, solar, wind, batteries, green hydrogen, and the rest, and we get to true net zero, temperatures on the earth will stop going up almost immediately.
We are on the way to a new order, so we are between orders.
In most of Asia, rice is still grown with traditional methods, which requires flooding the fields. And when you flood the fields, you basically kill the weeds with water, which sounds good, except it takes huge amounts of water. They basically decompose underwater, and when they do that, they release methane. And so actually rice production is one of the largest producers of methane, which is many times more toxic in terms of greenhouse gas emissions.
We have a kind of cultural, very ingrained habit of not taking damage to nature as seriously as we take damage to people and property. You know, if you're campaigning for human rights, at least you know mass murder, torture, all of these things are serious crimes. But there's no equivalent in the environmental space. With ecocide, what we see is actually what people are trying to do, what businesses are trying to do, is make money, is farm, is fish, is do all of these things that are producing energy and so on. What's missing is the awareness and the conscience around the side effects, around the collateral damage.
I would say digital and sustainable need to go hand in hand. And what do I mean? Yeah? There are initiatives like we are driving as industries, Catena X, where we are trying to measure the footprint throughout the value chain. And what would that give us? Yeah, I would have a bottle like this, and I could tell you from the iron ore to the logistics to the glass, what is the carbon footprint of this bottle? And then I could price it. And I could tell you, now you are doing good.
This information is a security threat. And maybe not many noticed, but it was part of the Russian military doctrine that they will start information war. And we are in it now. And this information is a very powerful tool. We are focusing on improving of the system where the people will get the facts right. We don't speak about opinions. We are not correcting anyone's opinions or language. Yeah, this is about the facts.
Bringing the kinds of sensors that people have become accustomed to, such as rings and in watches, into everyday devices, but it breaches the final frontier of privacy. That is what people are thinking and feeling. Initially, what they will be capable of doing is very high-level brain state reading. Things like, are you tired? Are you paying attention? Is your mind wandering? Are you happy or sad? They maybe enable interaction like up, down, left, right.
There are things that are unknown that may happen. And anything happening is a matter of when, not if. And that was when we gave the name Disease X. So Disease X is a placeholder for unknown disease. You may even call COVID as the first Disease X. And it may happen again.
I am convinced beyond any doubt that because of the decisions being made in the marketplace now, because you know as well as I do, even if, I don't want this, obviously, but if you wound up with a different president who was opposed to climate crisis, I got news for you. No one politician anywhere in the world can undo what is happening now. It's the biggest transformation in the economies of the world in all of human history.
Can we just say thank you for speeding that up? Yeah. So we didn't have to watch it in
Could
real
you imagine
time.
going to 2 weeks of that? Like having those meetings?
Oh my God. There's
Did you see the
dozens of hours.
That's true.
So check it out, though. So what he's talking about is the biggest transformation ever. He said that's in reference to the net zero asset managers agreement. So $70 trillion worth of money amongst these asset managers is all signed a pact to achieve net zero. But now you might be questioning how much of a factor do these people play into shaping society. So this clip right here shows just how much of an impact they have in shaping society. If you have any question about how powerful they are.
The notion to integrate young leaders is part of the World Economic Forum since many years. When I mention our names like Mrs. Merkel, Vladimir Putin, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, is that we penetrate the cabinets.
Joe Biden calls it Build Back Better.
Build back better.
Building back better.
To do things differently. To build back better.
We're going to build it back better.
And build it back better.
It's my plan to build back better.
Start taking all the problems that have been created, education and mental health, and start to build back in a positive way.
I have launched a booklet called Build Back Better.
It's about building this country back better.
That's just make America great again.
That's their new slogan too.
Yeah,
now,
but
let's finish the job.
So I love people who've
that's
never
their
built anything in their lives saying we're going to build back better.
Yeah.
They've never built anything.
Ever.
They've torn down everything.
None of these people have made a thing in their lives.
Nothing.
Well, I mean, Bill Gates did make Microsoft, but what he's chosen to do with that success is the problem.
Yeah.
Like, why are you? Isn't he like one of the largest landowners in the United States? Why? Just answer why.
While
none of the politicians have built anything.
Well, simultaneously, they're taking farmland away from regular farmers, saying they release too much nitrogen into the environment, while this crazy guy Bill Gates is taking over all the farmland.
Because they care about humanity, so to speak, but they're like, no rice. Rice has probably fed more billions of people around the world. Every developing nation's diet highly depends on rice. They want to take it away. Food, meat, and then what do they want to do? Powdered bugs as your protein.
Yeah. These are the people who think the world's too overpopulated. They want to slow population growth and reduce it. So, Milei went there and made a great point in his speech. He wanted to say that since socialists were forced to change their agenda, like that was clear that the economic side of their thing was flawed. So they changed to a environmental and social agenda. They're trying to like work their stuff into through that by turning men and women against each other, by making people think the environment's unhealthy. That's how they're infiltrating with their policies.
I was shocked they invited him because he's kind of like right of center, Milei, afuera.
And this kind of goes back to the quote I mentioned earlier from Wilhelm Reich. We don't have to talk about whether God exists or doesn't exist. We just erode the sexual morals. It's true with all of this stuff. Their entire agenda, they find a way to get it across without ever explicitly giving you the actual program or telling you what they want to achieve or what their goal is. They just want to implement these different little mechanisms of social control everywhere, and before you know it, you're in line with them.
So if they could do like, Zoom meetings, why can't they zoom in and teach us how to be better for the environment? Why did they have to fly 300? Because you can't get hookers on Zoom.
Exactly, and so you know you're their slave. That right? You use Zoom. They don't use Zoom, right? That's the whole point, is we are in charge and you're going to do what we want. Like when they go to these galas and none of them are wearing masks, but the help are all wearing masks.
Yeah.
It's about sending a message. You wear a muzzle and I breathe freely.
But you know what's funny too is, like, we've talked about this before. We're not very far off from a movie called Hunger Games, because if you think about how it encompasses, they're playing against the elites. They all have these huge, beautiful, parties, and they look down on us, and we're in sections. You know what I'm saying? If you really think about it, they show you stuff. They program you. To where we're not very far off from that. Our grid could go out in 2 seconds, and out of nowhere, we're eating bugs, we're killing each other, and then they start making their own, what they're talking about is civilization. I guarantee all of those assholes have a bunker, or they know someone that has a bunker, and they're going to stay there, and they're going to watch us all kill each other.
Right. No, 100%. I wanted to say, like, what would you guys agree that if people in your circles of life, friends and family, do you think the majority of them know about the WEF or not a clue?
No, my uncle would laugh right in your face about it.
My mom definitely does. Like, I'm pretty sure she just reads about it constantly, because my dad has become, it's very odd. In their older age, they've seemed to focus in on things that I wish they could not let go, but the focus on them consumes them. Like my dad with chemtrails. He is obsessed with chemtrails.
Man.
His entire phone is chemtrails. And I get it. It bothers me too, but I'm like, can you have a photo of your grandson somewhere? Like, it's hundreds of photos. And we did a road trip on July 4th, and he's driving, and he's like, all right. And I'm like, no, stop taking photos pay attention to the road.
He's like, you see the X?
Yes. So they're very well informed. And I think, and my brothers are too, because they live in New Jersey, right? And I feel like when you have that oppression upon you, which they did in COVID in the Northeast, it was brutal. I lived in Florida. COVID for me was like, oh, that's still going on places? It never kind of went into effect here.
That's right.
So when you're in this type of lifestyle, I think people, it'd be very interesting to see people who are in warmer climates, who have more access to activities and things to do, as opposed to people who are stuck up under that oppression. I wonder who's more aware of it. Are the people who, hey, I'm going to go to the beach and hang out and drink a Mai Tai at 5 o'clock. Are they aware of the WEF, or is it the people that are living under that rule in Toronto, Canada, where it's 0 degrees outside and you can't go out because it's cold, but outside of that, if you do go out, you got to be vaccinated to go to the liquor store.
Right.
Like, I wonder who's more aware of that.
I would probably guess the people who are more impacted by it, where the things are farther along in the direction the WEF wants them to go. Because, make no mistake about it, things that are going on in Canada or Europe, like how they're getting really harsh with their censorship stuff.
Communism?
Yeah, well, that's all coming from the WEF. Like he said, the young global leaders have penetrated the cabinets. Trudeau's a young global leader. The Merkel's a young global leader.
The AOC types.
Yeah, Macron's a young global leader. So
wait, how is Merkel a young global leader? Is this like a UN?
Yes, she is. She's also tied in with Clintons and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So whose idea? For Milei to be down there, whose idea was that? Because he went and ripped him. You should talk about that.
So my theory on that is that I thought they thought he was gonna make himself look bad by being like, because it's his image that he's like unhinged and like aggressive and yelling and stuff. So I think they like the idea of him going there and like them being able to cast him as this like unhinged, out of control guy. But
like a mascot. Look how stupid they are.
But he shocked them, and he gave this whole like data based thing and like this really solid argument about like how capitalism's taken 95% of the world out of poverty.
I would love for them to invite somebody that's like Milei, like Tucker.
Well, you see when Trump went there in 2018, he lit the place on fire figuratively. Like, they hated when he gave a speech. He's like, yeah, I'm here to say that America's back better than ever, and it's the best place in the world to do business right now. And I'm never gonna choose the what's in the best interest of another country over America. I'll always do what's better for America first. And they hated it because they're all about weakening America to implement globalism.